Good afternoon. Can you all hear me? Okay, great. Well, I got to say it's a real honor to be on this side of the podium. The last time I was at a CPAC was 10 years ago. I was a freshman in college. And I got to say, at that time, I didn't predict that I'd be over here. So it's a real honor to be able to talk to you all today, and also a real honor to be able to take some of your questions. I don't know if you guys have cards in front of you right now. I think they're being distributed, and I'm looking forward to having a real conversation about these issues dealing with the free market. The Show Me Institute is a free market think tank, and I think it's real important for us to remind ourselves oftentimes when we're talking about it in very academic language that there's a very specific and important and more basic thing that we're talking about. Now, we can talk about aggregations of knowledge, we can talk about efficiencies and capital allocations, but really, when we say that we believe in the free market, what we're really saying is that we believe in people. We believe in people to make their lives better, to make their families better off, to make their cities and their states and their countries and their world better off. Because that's really been the lesson that we've learned over the last couple hundred years. Free markets make people better off. And I think that when we lose sight of that, we really lose the whole point of, particularly when we're in the think tank field, what our purpose is. It's about empowering individuals. It's about empowering people. And I think it takes a great deal of hubris to really suggest that any government or any single set of individuals has some expertise that is better than the market in allocating people's resources. Now, I trust individuals to cooperate with one another and to make more with less than I believe the government is going to be able to do. Particularly in the state of Missouri, you look at its track record. The state of Missouri has a real problem with issuing crazy amounts of tax incentives. We issue annually about $400 million in economic development tax credits. We only bring in about $300 million in the corporate income tax. We spend $400 million, we take in $300 million. I think a more effective way and a better way of approaching growth is to make sure that we invest in everyone. Now, the easiest way to invest in everyone is to reduce everyone's taxes and to simply eliminate a lot of the most destructive taxes. When we talk about GDP growth in the state of Missouri, from 1997 to 2011, Missouri ranked 48th in GDP growth. It ranked 46th in employment growth. It ranked 43rd in GDP per capita growth. Those are miserable statistics. And it's made worse that we all recognize that these are impacting lives. The people of Missouri are worse off under the system where the government picks winners and losers and maintains higher taxes. We can do better than that, I believe. And the list of reasons to cut taxes is pretty long. I mean, you want to make sure that government is smaller. You want to make sure that it's efficient. You also want to make sure that you're enabling the job creators to be able to invest in their companies. Consider a company that is in a no income tax state. It takes its income in for the year. Let's say it has 10 machines and it has 10 people manning those machines. If they had an income tax, 6% or whatever percent the state has as a tax is removed. That could mean that you have one less machine that's going to be put into that particular company. So instead of having 10 machines, you could have had 11 machines. You produce more widgets, you get more money back, you can reinvest in yourself. It makes a difference over time. And the literature is pretty clear on this. Income taxes are among the most destructive that you can have for growth. If you have a savings account, it kind of makes sense. If you put $1 in 30 years ago, that dollar is going to be a lot more powerful than if you put it in 10 years ago or yesterday. Those early investments make a difference, and unfortunately, the income tax deters a lot of those investments. That's why I think that in Missouri, we really need to look at income tax reform. And if you look across the region, too, I mean, we talk about, at the Show Me Institute, Kansas a whole lot because they've done some really significant income tax reforms. But it's not just about Kansas. You look at Texas, you look at South Dakota, you look at Nebraska and Oklahoma. You're looking at a lot of states that either don't have an income tax or are looking to get rid of them. We're in the middle of a developing growth corridor extending from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up to the Great Lakes. And the question is, what is going to happen to the state of Missouri if it doesn't react? I mean, you can only survive so long by ignoring a problem. And unfortunately, Missouri's ignored its economic problems for far too long. I talk about GDP and GDP growth and all that, but another way to look at it is if you look at how many representatives the state of Missouri had at the beginning of the 20th century, we had 16 representatives in Congress. Does anyone know how many we have today? 8. It's 8. And what that kind of suggests is that if there were economic opportunities here in the state, people would stay and people would come to the state. But relative to the rest of the country, we are not performing as well, and people aren't staying. And we all have stories of friends and family who have left the state of Missouri because the opportunities were not there. And I think that's unacceptable. Now, we talk about, being upset that other politicians would come to the state of Missouri. I want to be that politician going to some other state and saying, you need to be fearful of Missouri. It's a point of weakness, I think, to suggest that we can't stand up and be competitive with other states. And I think that Missouri can do much better than it has. But at the end of the day, when we talk about free markets, we are really talking about people. And I think that one of the easiest ways to empower individuals, if you believe in individuals, if you believe in the free market, you can return more money to them. And I think we can have some income tax reform that will actually help the state of Missouri. But at the end of the day, free markets are about people, and I believe in people, and I think you do too. Thank you.